Hey there, ACA 122 scholars. This is Lisa Cooper doing a take 2 for session 2. Apparently my audio was all messed up and I apologize for that. Thank your fellow classmate Jasmine. She's got your back. She asked about it, so I'm redoing it. Please, and I say this to all and everyone, something's not working right. And you're trying to do your job as a student, and that's not coming together. One of the lessons of any kind of class, but ACA especially, is advocate for yourself. So thank you, and we'll see if we can do this video. Some of you have started session 2 already, and I applaud your efforts. But for those of you that are just ready to gear up, and kind of an overview from your instructor and thoughts of that matter, that's what this video is all about. So let's get started, because you don't need to be here forever. I'm going to go to Moodle and scroll to session 2, and you will see that eventually I'm going to update the link here for the video, so that will stay the same. And there's really 2 activities for this week. But I want to point out something special about the activities that I missed in the video that I did for session 1. And that is our late policy. There are really 2 types of assignments that we have. We have activities that are 10-point activity assignments, and then we have, excuse me, I'm using the words. I'm going to say activities, which are 10 points, and assignments or projects that are 100 points. And so I'm actually going to show you that, the ACA 122 online grading breakdown. I'm going to pull that up in this screen real quick and just show you that there are things on a 100-point scale, and they are highlighted in yellow on this, and then 10-point scale, and it goes through all the sessions. Well, anything that's in this yellow 100-point assignment, if there's some reason that you need to turn that in late, that's what would be part of the late policy. There's a penalty, but you just, if you don't end up turning it in on time, you email me when you have submitted it, then I go in and I grade it for that penalty. So the goal is to never have any penalties and turn everything on time, but when push comes to shove and you need to make a choice. But actually I'd say this, if push comes to shove, I'd get that 100-point assignment turned in for full credit, even if you have to pass on a 10-point assignment, if that makes sense. But if you're unsure, you can always ask me. But I just wanted to point out the difference that the 10-point assignments, they're part of your attendance, and they are not accepted late, but the 100-point scale, your goal is to get them turned in, but these can be submitted via the late work policy for a reduction. All right, so with that said, you have 1 of each this session 2. It all really builds up to email etiquette and communicating with the world, but you're going to really test it out in your journey at Nash Community College. And if you go into the work world directly after this, or you go and transfer to a senior institution after this, as you go through your journey and you're trying to get good advising and you need clarification from an instructor, the more you are showing up flags or explaining something, if you are asked, using proper email etiquette, I promise you will get you so much further, will help reduce the barriers of confusion. You want to get to where the instructor understands expressly what you're asking, and so they can adequately answer as well, as a specific example. So first you're going to be doing email etiquette Cornell notes. So there's 2 things that are going on here. The content, which is email etiquette, and we'll get to that in a second, and using Cornell notes. Oh my goodness, you guys. You're like, note taking, but I am telling you, these Cornell notes, I think, are great, and they're wonderful for taking notes, especially like in an online class, and you go, okay, all these things are posted. What do I do with them? Where do I put them? You could, even if the instructor doesn't provide it, use Cornell notes. Take notes as you're watching a video, as you're walking through a PowerPoint, as you're reading something. What are the key things? And I'm going to show you this Cornell note template. And then we build them into the assignments, right? So you will click on it. It will ask you to make a copy. This becomes yours. Now it's in your drive, right? I don't have access to it anymore in that regard. You're going to submit it and I'll show you how, but it is in your drive now. So you could go in and rename it with your name. That's always a good practice, you guys, just saying, because, and often I would always do your last name, right? Okay, just renamed it because I think I've renamed it. It's called copy. Hold on. But I always recommend kind of renaming things if you've copied them. There it goes. Because it's just great for the instructor. Now you're in alphabetical order, use your last name. I am telling you, if an instructor doesn't ask you to submit assignments, doesn't give you direction, go to do your last name, first name, and then whatever the assignment is. But also you might be able to find this in your stuff better. That's just my recommendation. So you're going to pull up the content for this week, and then you're going to, as you go through it, you're going to take notes. Cornell notes themselves are really a 3-columned note pattern. You know, you have the top where you'll put your name and identifiers, what the main point is or the essential question. And then if with this, we have specific questions and ideas that you're going to answer, right? There's your question. Here's where I write my answer. Question, answer, like that. But as you're taking notes in any class, you can be like, okay, key points are a word. It's great. Definitions, questions, main ideas go on this side, and the answer, explanation goes on this side. It makes it so much easier when you go back to look at notes and study. You can you've already made your study guide there, straight up. The other thing to always do is a summary. And why is a summary important? For 2 reasons. One is notes make a difference in memory, in learning, and if you go back and visit them. If you don't go back and visit them, their impact is very minimal on long-term memory. But if you go back and visit them, even just once, it improves your memory and understanding and synthesis. And plus, you know, if instructors are fast talkers, you've fallen behind, you can go back and see where your gaps are. And even then do that reach out with this email etiquette that I'm going to talk about. So one of the things that's nice is this title on top that tells you what it is, but your summary, which is your main ideas and thoughts about the content that's above it, is quick. When you're going through notes trying to find something, looking at those summaries can help you organize it and help you find information. But this is what you're going to fill out and submit. And I just did that whole explanation, but if you want to see it again, there's an explanation of it in this assignment, right? How to take notes and an explanation of how you use, and you can do it on notebook paper. You can draw the lines and how it works and why it works, because it's where you first can capture information, where you can go back and review information and summarize information, so it brings you in. So now you're going to apply that knowledge to this assignment. And so what you'll do is you'll have that template that I just showed you, and you will go through these 4 pieces of information and answer the questions. Some of it is information, and some of it, this is information. And some of it may be a video. That's what I was going to say. So you'll have either just static notes and information and a video, but need to go through all 4 of these to understand what it is you're expected from that. Once you've done that, you're going to add your submission. And what's neat about this is if it's already in your Google Drive, okay, you could download it as a PDF. You could download it as a Word document, so I'll go back to where I had that. Like here I am, I've written my notes. If I go under File and I do Download, I can download it as a Word doc, I can download it as a PDF. And you can always do that if you're ever having to submit stuff from Google Docs. But I believe, and we're going to go back here, that you can also, you've got it in Drive, you can do it here. I'm looking for adding submissions. By add, and now I'm going to go to Google Drive. Now I have a huge Google Drive, and it may ask you, you're not logged in, you just click and it'll log you in. I have a huge Google Drive, so I'm going to kind of search by it because it was close enough that, is there something under Cooper, Lisa, and then it was online. Let's see if that helps get me closer to the file. I'm going to go to the name of it. OL Email Etiquette. Okay. Let's try it again. Cooper, Lisa, OL, email. Let's see what we got there. There it is. Cooper, Lisa, OL, email etiquette. I click on that. I select this file. And there it is. And it's already done it as a Word document. So I didn't have to download it, was my point. I could grab it from my Google Drive within Moodle. And then I hit Save Changes, and I'm done. Let's go back, and I want to just show you the other thing you're going to need to do. After you've done that, you're actually going to put it to practice and send me an email. So this is my favorite week because I'm going to get to hear from all of you. Okay, it wants me to do one or the other. There we go. All right, so the other thing is then, after you put that all to practice, you're going to send an email to me. Now, there are things I'm going to be specifically looking for and grading this email on. So that's what's nice about this. You're not going to submit anything to this link because your submission is the email I'm going to get, right? So that's good. Once you send the email, you're like, check. But if you want to really check and make sure, you need to make sure you do everything in these categories that I'm looking for, right? So this is the grading criteria. You want to go in here and look at the description. What is the expected? And how it's going to be looked. What the subject line should be, right? What's said in your introduction. You're going to tell about someone or someplace at Nash. You're going to take a few minutes and talk about an interesting fact. You just want to be sure, maybe have someone read over it. Did you do everything? I'm going to expect, A, that you do it. B, that your subject line is the correct information. That it contains the appropriate introduction. That it has an explanation of someone or someplace. That it contains some information about topics you've learned. And that it adheres to email etiquette. So a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Nash and someone helpful, and information about the website, complete sentences, proper salutations and conclusions, and there we go. So that is what you're following along, and then you're going to just go ahead and submit an email to me. Well, you're going to write an email to me, and that is what you need to do for session 2. I thank you so much for being on this journey with me, and I look to hear from you. Take care.